Right now, we want to talk to Victoria Toensing, who also represented one of the whistleblowers yesterday up on Capitol Hill, Greg Hicks. Victoria, before we move into that, and there's a lot of ground we want to cover, a little breaking news. There is a fourth person who wants to come forward. I understand you are trying to represent this person?
No.
No, that's not true.
Nope.
You've seen the report?
No, I haven't.
Well, there's a report out there. I'm glad we cleared that up. So there's not a fourth person.
Not to my knowledge. I mean, there could be a fourth person, but it's just not my bailiwick.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, glad to get that cleared up.
At least as of this moment.
All right, glad to get that cleared up. Now, Greg Hicks yesterday, your guy that you represented, a number 2 in Benghazi, got a sterling reputation. The thing that bothered me is that, he clearly understood from the very beginning when he heard about these talking points that said it was all about a video and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've talked about that endlessly. He knew immediately that was just a bunch of crap. And he started raising questions about that. And the thing that came out to me yesterday was how the State Department reacted. They didn't say, well, there was confusion. They just came after the guy.
No, Assistant Secretary Beth Jones got icy and cold with him, where before they had a good relationship. All of a sudden, the message was, don't you dare contradict what happened back in Washington. And here's why he was concerned about it, not just the fact that they were false. I mean, that is enough, it should be, but because it affected the relationship with the Libyan government. When she contradicted, the Ambassador Rice, contradicted the president of Libya on national TV in front of the world, do you know how he felt? The president of Libya? He's saying it's a terrorist attack, and our ambassador to the UN is saying, oh no, it was a video. So now he's been humiliated by the great power on the earth, the United States. And as Mr. Hicks said yesterday, that affected our ability to get the FBI into Libya, into Benghazi, in order to investigate what happened. And as one of the members of Congress said last night from South Carolina, is Trey Gowdy, I believe, he says, now, I was a prosecutor, and I don't know any side that gets better with time goes on.
Yeah, that's true. Let me ask you, but Greg Hicks says that he's sort of been, demoted as a result.
No, not sort of.
Has been.
No. Lanny, God bless him, but he has the Democrats' talking points where they put out, he didn't get a promotion. No. He was told by Beth Jones, I don't know why anybody would want you back in Libya. The ambassador doesn't want you, and neither does his staff, which was just absolutely false. He's always had rave reviews wherever he's been, and he had no problems
and talk
with the people there.
Talk briefly about that hot phone call he got from Cheryl Mills.
Well, but let me just finish the bottom line, because he's been brought back, put into a desk, I call it in Siberia. He's too classy to talk like I do. Has been given no meaningful work. And they say to him, well, we just can't find an assignment for you. No, he has been demoted. Now, you can't take away somebody's pay in the government, and that causes all kinds of things. But you can put him in some place and not give him anything to do.
Yeah.
And that's what they have done for 6 months now. This isn't an accident. This isn't 6 days, 6 weeks. We're trying to find something. And if we hadn't come out, no one would even know about this, because they were just ready to push him out the door.
And the phone call from Mills?
Oh, let me tell you, because sometimes in congressional hearings, things get disjointed. Did you ever notice that?
Yeah.
They only have 5 minutes, so somebody doesn't pick up for another hour.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
I was going crazy. The first thing he did was criticize Ambassador Rice, so that was his first no-no. The second thing happened is when Congressman Chaffetz came out, and he was told by 2 State Department lawyers, don't get alone with them, and don't let the RSO, the resident security officer, and one other person, don't let any of them be alone. You cannot talk to the congressman alone. He says in all his years in the State Department, he's always met alone with a member of Congress when they come out for what's called a codel. Mm-hmm. So that was the first time he's ever been instructed that way.
Well,
and then he took the congressman on a security tour. That didn't come out yesterday. He took the congressman on a security tour of the Tripoli embassy to show him all the problems, the defects. And then the third thing happened, and Lanny, again, doesn't know the facts, but it wasn't Mr. Hicks who kept the minder, the babysitter, out of the meeting. It was the chief of the annex, as we're required to say, somebody who has a lot of background in security and classified information. Mr. Hicks didn't do it, but he got blamed for it. And the call from Sharon Mills came because she said, you kept my lawyer out of the meeting. He hadn't done it, but he got accused of it. And you took the congressman on a security tour, and he just got his rear end scolded.
Yeah. Victoria Toensing, she's the attorney for Mr. Hicks, Greg Hicks, who was one of the whistleblowers testifying yesterday at the Benghazi hearings. Now, you talk about the Democratic talking points. Our pal Dana Milbank over at the Washington Post, did you see his column that hit basically as the gavel dropped at the end of the hearing? It was already published, and the headline was, "Whistleblower's Yarn Fails to Tie Benghazi Lapses to Politics." He really just looks at this through a political prism and said, well, no smoking gun here. Let me ask you to respond to a couple of quick passages here. He says that Hicks says that his jaw dropped when he heard UN Ambassador Susan Rice falsely claim on TV that there had been a protest at the Benghazi consulate, but he declined an invitation yesterday to challenge the veracity of the Director of National Intelligence, who said the statement reflected, quote, our collective best judgment at the time, unquote.
If I had been in a courtroom, I could have gotten up and say, I object. You did not ask one witness to verify the credibility of another witness.
Right.
So they put him on the spot, and again, he's so much nicer than I am.
Right. They basically
he's a diplomat. Of course he's going to be.
So
nice.
They say to Hicks,
he's not going to say, "Well, that guy's a liar." I would have,
Right.
but he didn't.
All right. And to that end, Hicks said he thought a flyover by U.S. jets could have deterred the second of the two attacks that night, but, according to Dana Milbank, he declined to question the judgment of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who said there was no way to get the fighters there in time.
Again, his nice diplomatic personality doesn't let him do that. But here's the point of that. Mr. Hicks knew, because he knew Libya and he knew the Mideast, that during the revolution, Libyans were the rebels were very supportive of the American aircraft. And when the American aircraft just flew over, they didn't have to do anything, that would disperse the crowd. And that's what he had wanted.
So when the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says, no, there's no way we could have done that, Victoria?
Well, that may be true. And so that is a point, isn't it? That if they don't have backup plans for helping a mission like Libya, and they don't have the ability to scramble within a certain time frame, then there's a lack of planning by the military. That's the issue there.
All right, Victoria Toensing, thanks for